Russia, Czechia, 1-0. Sorry.
By the way, 90. You haven't been here that long, but you'll pretty quickly find out that if you don't change your name in TeamSpeak so that it also just says plainly 90, then you will most likely get a kick or a ban for violating the SOPs of the server. You're supposed to be having the same name on TeamSpeak and in-game, so you're easier to ban and kick and shit like that.
I'm sorry.
So that's just a thing you want to fix up at some point. Okay, so guys, welcome to Fireteam Leaders course. And Fireteam Leaders course is, of course, for people who has been to Fireteam operations, know the concepts of operating within a Fireteam, and feel that they have leadership abilities and want to improve those abilities. So you might not feel like a perfect leader, but you are ready to get some skills needed to further improve your team leading. It will also give you a slight insight in squad level tactics and what the squad leader will be thinking somewhat. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and start this course real quick.
Is there a password?
Pancakes. Okay, so as I said, Fireteam Leaders course is to teach you how to coordinate and utilize and effectively lead a fire team into combat, and we cover a variety of topics that will leave you in a better place to lead elements, and we should end up with you being able to pretty perfectly lead a fire team under guidance, and maybe even be able to just handle the fire team on your own. And you will practice on each other, so you will also be giving each other feedback, and I'll only give feedback if some of you guys miss a point when we're out doing shit. And these skills are actually not only limited to UO and armor, they are actually useful in your everyday life. So if you have a job position where you might have to lead, manage, or command some people, or if you want that kind of job, this could actually help you out. Especially if you're in an English-speaking country, and if you're good at translating, you can also use it other places. Any questions or comments so far?
No.
Okay. So first off is defining some terms for you, and those are called leadership, management, and command, and we actually distinguish between these terms, and you need to understand these terms. And after this course, I want you to read these descriptions again in the lesson plan to make sure you understand them. But first off, we're going to talk about leadership. And can any of you give a suggestion what leadership might actually mean? Because you might have a lot of ideas, but what does it actually mean to be a leader?
To guide other men.
Yeah, to guide.
And complete
the right decisions.
Making some decision for them, yeah.
Make sure the objective is met.
Yeah, achieve what you're supposed to achieve with your group. Okay, I'm gonna read you a more formal description of leadership. Leadership is best defined as the art of influencing human behavior in order to accomplish a task in the manner decided by the leader. And this is a fancy word, right?
Yeah.
It's fancy wording, but it actually means understanding the people within your chain of command and the best way to ensure that they work for you and not against you. What you want to note is, if you are a leader, then you have to be an excellent follower, and that means that if you expect to lead, then you need to know what you expected from your own leaders when you were a grunt and a private. So you need to know you need to have followed. You need to have been in a fire team to know what you actually expected from your own fire team leader, so you can do that and adopt those qualities to yourself. And leadership is not being the first guy out the door and being fucking Rambo and moving around, killing shit and being fast. That's not the leader. You might see that in many action movies, but that's not how to lead. That is being a good soldier, but you're not a good leader. So leading is more within the military and in combat. It's making decisions and taking steps to ensure your guys are well. So again, it's influencing human behavior in order to accomplish a task in the manner decided by a leader. So that in this case you are the leader. So what you want to do is influence your team to accomplish a task you've been given by a squad leader. Example, today I played on the server on the Tropica mission where we were these Egyptians, and people started doing that ace knockdown thing. What you want to do, and what I did there to influence people, is they stood there and had a fun time laughing, and I just came over in a serious voice and said, "It's not funny, stop it, not being fun." And that's just me influencing, and people shut up right away because they realized that it wasn't the point. So it's about being able to influence people in any way towards what you want. So if you don't want a derping team, then you need to influence them towards seriosity. You can't expect them to do what you want to just out of nowhere. You need to influence their behavior so they will be serious. If you want them to be aggressive, you need to influence them with aggressive behavior. And what you'll note is that mood in any grouping, whenever there are more people together, then the mood of one person will affect the rest of the persons in there. So if you have one person complaining or whining, then everyone else will slowly start to complain and whine if nothing is done about it. Same thing, if you're a team leader and you keep being positive, you keep saying, this is going well, this is nice, then you affect your team by letting them know you're doing a good job, I like what you're doing, etc. That affects their humor. So that's what you want to do as a leader. You want to influence your team so they can accomplish their tasks as you desire. Any questions to leadership? That's fine, Serpent. But any questions to what leadership actually means? Okay, so when you get problems later on, I'm going to reference you to this term, leadership. You haven't, if something fucks up, it's usually because you haven't been able to influence your team in the manner you desired. Okay, we're going to move on to next topic called management. And because you can't only lead a team, you also need to manage your team. And you might already have some ideas about what it means to manage a team, but I want to hear some suggestions from you guys.
Get the right people in the right spots.
Yeah, using personnel properly based on their own motivation, right?
Yeah, and their equipment and yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, you getting them to use the proper equipment.
Yeah, making sure everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Okay. Management comes at a lot of levels, and I'm gonna be taking you through them right now. But first off, we're just gonna go through the formal meaning of it again. So, management is defined as employing human resources in the most economically efficient manner as to accomplish a task in the manner decided by the leader. Again, this is about how you want a task to be accomplished, and you have to do this by managing your human resources in an economic way. That means you're not wasting what they have. So if they have stuff like machine gun ammo, you want them to use it because you've just influenced them to use it with your leadership, but now you need to manage their use of that machine gun so you don't waste bullets, and you want to make sure they don't waste AT weapons and so forth, and they don't waste their own energy for that matter, so you don't overtire them. So that's something so that's a part of managing. But this is knowing and understanding capabilities and not wasting assets. As a fireteam, at the fireteam level, having a clear understanding of the weapons possessed by your men and the extent of your abilities to accomplish all tasks by employing minimum amount of energy, force and resources. It takes a long time and experience to become an effective manager, but similar to leadership, it's about to making the right calls. So obviously this will take some experience, and you need to familiarize yourselves with the weapons you have within your fire team, so you know what you can expect from your fire team. So you want to know about how to use 240s, to use Carl Gustav's AT4, 249s, all kinds of crazy weapons. You want to know how to use them, because then you know what you can expect from your team members, what you can tell them, what you can to do, and what would not make sense. And that's a experience thing. It's also I had to manage one of my teams a lot today again in one of those tropical missions, because I had this little 6-man squad with me as squad leader, and the mission maker had made them giving them a very weird loadout. So that meant that one of the guys were carrying 47 kilograms of 62 kilograms something, and the team leader was carrying 17. And then you come in and manage those teams. Okay, team leader obviously fucked up here, and he didn't check his teams. So I had to go in as a squad leader and manage individuals, and that's not the best way to go, because I was already busy with comms and shit like that. So what you want to do as a team leader is being able, when you start the mission, check out what are each man gonna get. Okay, is anyone overloaded compared to anyone else? And then when you start the mission, say, okay, AR, you're carrying too many rounds, load them off on the rifleman, or rifleman, you're carrying too many grenades, load them off on the grenadier, shit like that. That's something about managing your human resources. Any questions on management?
Oh.
Nice and easy. Finally, command. Command is a term people often mix up with leadership. You do not want to mistake those two for each other, because it's very different things. And it's a thing that's hard to do on server, because people can't see you. They can't properly see your body language like they can in real life. And it actually turns out that 65% of human communication is done through body language. So you're missing a huge part of your communications with your fellow team members by not being able to use body language. I want to hear again from you guys, what do you think it means to command?
To lead other leaders?
Not really necessarily to command.
To give tasks to your squad.
To complete objective?
You're all talking leadership right now.
To have the authority to leadership.
Yes, Jan got it.
Your presence.
It's about authority. You're already leading, you're influencing your guys, you're managing them, you're making sure they're okay, but you need command. You need to be a commander to actually do this, and this is a different thing. And it's partly about authority. I'm gonna read you the description here. This is best described as the lawful authority which a superior exerts over the subordinates by virtue of their rank and or appointment. So command and leadership go hand in hand. So just because you may slot into a leadership position does not mean everyone will listen to your orders and instructions. So therefore you have to understand the responsibility of being in command of others, and you must put your subordinates' welfare above your own without compromising the integrity of the team or ordering others to do something you would not do yourself. Yet again, command comes down to making the right decision at the right time, or issuing the right orders necessary to accomplish your task without overstepping your bounds. So you can, if you have all this leadership and managing skills, you still need to exert authority through commanding your men. You don't want to be that guy who comes in, okay guys, I think we should do this, and this is probably the best way to do it. You still want to be a commander. It's good in a corporate world to be assertive and talk to people, but in combat you want to be able to command, and that is saying, AR, I want you there, facing that way. You're getting this arc of fire. Grenadier, I want you doing this. Rifleman, I want you here. I will do this. I will contact Bravo team and get them tied in with our right flank. That's commanding, and it takes practice. It's not something that comes natural to everyone, and that's why some people will stay privates their entire life, and some will move quickly up. It's simply their ability to command that distinguishes that. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. These 3 principles right here, those are the backbone of any leadership position, and no one expects you to not make mistakes or because we want you to learn, and you learn by making mistakes. So remember, it still doesn't, but you want to try and keep improving yourself, improving your own ability to command, lead, and manage. Later on, if you guys want, I can even make a platoon leaders course or squad leaders course where I'll tell you something about the styles of commanding and stuff, but we're not going to go through that here because it's not really that important to a fireteam leader. Okay, so that was it for phase 1. Anything you want to talk about before we go on?
Nope.
No? Okay. Then we have phase 2, and that's further on the groupings and task distribution of arms. We talked a bit about this yesterday, and but we're gonna go over it again just to make sure. So again, in the fireteam we only have 4 persons, and that goes for the majority of missions. And it's important to understand how to group your subordinates into body teams based on their capabilities. That's part of learning how to deal with each situation as they appear. Common your fireteam will have fireteam leaders, grenadiers, riflemen, and automatic riflemen. And each of these roles are not limited to the weapons that they specify. That's important. You can't, even though you have a guy who has an automatic rifle, he can just easily have a machine gun or just have a rifle. He doesn't have to carry exactly that. It's just, if you have that fighting, you're usually off to a good start in most situations. But you will often see in real life, sometimes they get the AR to drop his automatic rifle, give him a carbine, and then have him breach a compound with the rest of the guys. Anything that has to happen to make things easier will happen. And that's where you come in as a fighting leader. It's your duty to ensure that the distribution of your weapons, ammunition, and other resources, so you never have to compromise your mobility, your integrity, and mission essential equipment. And what that means is when you're given a fireteam, you will often receive a task. Since we play often on platoon level here, the tasks are usually on platoon level, but you will still be given some sort of task. And a task could be equip yourself for an assault, or equip yourself for suppressive fire, or something like that. It's not that game applicable, but some missions will actually require you to outfit your own fire teams, and then you want to be able to tell your people what you want them to grab. So if you're doing an assault, you want to make sure they grab extra grenades, they grab extra flashbangs or whatever. They have some C4 blocks with them so they can breach doors, whatever. Or if you're getting the orders, equip yourself for suppressive fire. Okay, make sure everyone has extra mags, has extra grenade, extra 40 millimeters, has extra Stanag magazines, because we're going to be burning through them, and we still want to have enough ammunition to do any task afterwards. So if you're given an order to suppress, you might want to even try and have double the amount of your usual ammo, just because then you can burn through that and still be at 100% when you're given a new task. You'll also be told to carry extra equipment, such as bringing anti-tank weaponry, extra ammo of some sort, satchel charges, any other mission essential equipment that, and then you have to delegate that kit on to your people. And as we talked about, never distribute all of all of your equipment on one soldier, because they're not built as mules, and they should not be treated as such. Yes. So that's very basic. Any questions on groupings and tasking?
Oh.
Okay. On to fighting tactics, and that's where you need to earn your salt as a team leader, because you need to be better at this. You don't need to be better at this than your team, but you need to know what to do and be able to decisively use that. So since you're only 4 men, you can take part in a fight on your own, but not on a grander scale. You can do small things. And just on one thing you will always be doing, we talked about this yesterday, whenever you engage an enemy, either them engaging you or you engaging them, then you have 3 options. You have base of fire as offensive or defensive action, and in that we have some sub-tactics, and that is stuff like assaulting, movement to contact, egress from contact, breaking contact, bounding overwatch, frontal attacks, shit like that. So first off is base of fire, which is our standard reaction to contact. We all know this, that when we get engaged, we start out by forming a line and shooting, and that's forming a base of fire. But what you have to do as a team leader real quick after that happens, you make sure you get some contact reports from your people. Someone must have seen what happened, and you make sure he tells you that. Then as soon as you know that somewhat, or you get a sense of what kind of enemies you're facing, then you start assessing, is this a suitable position for a base of fire, or do I need to do something else? And that's your call as team leader. And if you don't make that call, then you're automatically making the call to stay in a base of fire. And while that's sometimes a good idea, it's far from always, and you want to be able to be decisive about this. And a lot of the time I see in armor, people form base of fire lying right in the middle of open ground, and the team leader doesn't take any action to make sure they get into a better position. And that's the team leader's fault, because he should be the one figuring that out while everyone else is keeping the enemy pinned and trying to kill them. So base of fire, the only time you want to form a base of fire is if you are in good cover and you have good eyes on the enemy, and you can get away, and sometimes even that you can get away from the enemy. In Denmark we have what's called acronym that we call FS start, and that is you fire, you need to be able to freely shoot at the enemy. If you can't hit the enemy from where you are, you're in a crappy place. The next one is S, and that means, in Danish it's called slurring, it means concealment. So you want a concealed position from the enemy that still allows you to fire, so bushes, trees, whatever. Next one is dækning, cover, which means can you actually take cover here? Can the terrain protect you somewhat? Because then it's an even better position. Finally, observational abilities. Can you observe anything from that position? Maybe enemy movements, whatever. And finally, can you get away from there, and can you get to it easily? Something you want to consider in as a fire team. I haven't found a good English acronym for this, and I don't even think it exists. But that's just something for a team leader to consider. Is this a good place? Can I fire from here? Can my men hide? Can we take cover here even? Can we see anything or that the enemy is doing from here? And can we get away from here? If we can't do most of this, then it's not a good position. We need to do something else. And then we talk either offensive or defensive. And offensive is, fuck it, we're gonna kill these assholes because it's only 2 guys hiding by a fucking tree trying to delay us. We can fucking take these guys. And then it's like we did yesterday. It's bounding to contact. Just saying, Fireteam rush, body 1, bounding first, body 2, provide cover fire, body 2 set, body 1 bounding, go. And then body 1 set, body 2 bound, and then you do that real quick, getting towards the enemy, and then either getting close to them, being able to shoot them in the face, or getting close enough to them to defeat their cover. For instance, if an enemy is hiding in a fucking hangar like this, hiding by the corner, the way you defeat his cover is getting on the opposite corner, for instance. Then you can come around from there and fire inwards towards him. Bam, he's dead. So that's a way of defeating cover. Although, in other words, called flanking. You want to be careful about super flanking. You don't want to have to come in from a 90-degree angle, but you want to come in from an angle where his cover is more useless, or where he can't see you come. Sometimes that's even enough, that the fact that you are coming from 30 degrees out somewhere, that might be enough that the enemy doesn't see you, because he's getting tunnel vision trying to kill that one guy he saw before. Looking through his sighting and only see that one guy, and suddenly, oh shit, contact right, I'm dead. That's the advantage to offensive ability. You might be able to just destroy your enemy right there if the enemy is close enough, and you can probably do an assault towards him without risking your lives. And it's a lot harder than it seems. And as my last or one of my fighting operations courses in fucking the tune-up showed, if the enemy has more than 2 guys, your team will most likely die, and that turned out to be the case when I spawned 4 insurgents against them. At each course, they ended up dying because it was too much for one fire team. Next thing is defensive tactics. Also very rarely used because people are so fucking trigger happy. They want fucking fight and shoot and be awesome, but it's not always the best idea, because we're in the middle of an open field. There's no cover here. But leader then goes ahead. Okay, there is contacts there. They can defeat us if we are in this open field. Is there any cover? There is a tree line 100 meters to our left. Okay, so if we're alone, we're gonna be saying, okay, we're bounding into the tree line. Body 1 covering, body 2 bound towards the tree line, and then you just go ahead and do that. If you're a part of a squad, then you tell the squad leader, I cannot stay in this position. I will die. Request permission to bound left. And then the squad leader, if he has any sense, he will say, yes, do that. I will get the team 2 in position to help you. And that's an important aspect. You want to talk to your squad leader, of course. We're going to talk a bit more about that. But very important is for you as a team leader to use your own head and figure, okay, is this a good position? Can I do basic fire from here, or do I need to move? And if so, do I need to just attack the enemy, or do I need to get away from them, or get to better cover? And once you've done that, once you've identified what you're going to do and how many enemies there are, then you want to send your squad leader a contact report where you say, okay, the enemy is 200 meters northwest from us. I am currently engaged with, and they're 1 times enemy fire team. And then you make your recommendation. I am going to I'm going defensive to the left. I am going to attack. I am staying here in base of fire. That's just what you tell your squad leader, and he can always say, no, I want you to do this instead. That's okay, but what you do when you send that contact report is, what are you going to do? Because you're a team leader, you thought this through, you know, okay, the best way to survive this is by staying here in a base of fire. Okay, then you tell your squad leader, I'm staying in base of fire. And then he can say, no, I want you to assault. Okay, I'm assaulting. Squad leader's been informed about the contact and the situation, and he's got my recommendation. He still wants me assaulting. Okay, I'm assaulting. And that's his prerogative. But usually if you give your squad leader a recommendation, he will obey it. Otherwise he's a shit cannon. You can tell him that after the mission if you died. Okay. Any questions about the fighting level tactics? Nothing? Okay. Next thing is types of fire. We talked about this earlier again yesterday in the Fireteam operations course, where we didn't talk about it that much. I just said it, and you guys seem to understand it. Differentiating between 3 to 4 basic types of fire. We have rapid fire. Rapid fire is one shot or one burst per second. So when you tell your teams that, then you're asking for a lot of fire into the enemy, and that's usually the default response when being engaged, and you need to try to suppress fire. That's rapid fire, and rapid fire is this fucking fast. Imagine a team doing that, or even a squad doing that. That's a lot of firepower right there. But also, you will burn through your ammo fast. Already I used 10 rounds. Imagine if I did that for 30 seconds, I'd probably use 2 max by then. So you want to, as a fire team leader, to manage your team right there and tell them, okay, the enemy is suppressed now, he's hiding, go to normal rate of fire. Normal rate of fire is usually one round every 5 to 15 seconds. So that's considering where you're actually shooting. So when you tell people to go to normal rate, they should start scanning with the optics or whatever, looking for actual enemies, and then they should fire for them. Then, okay, I didn't hit him, he's taking cover behind that wall, I can shoot just above the wall, he will hear that. Yes, okay. He's moving again, I'm hitting him now. Yes, contact down. That's normal rate of fire. So that's spending time actually trying to identify the target. And if your people don't understand that, then you have to say that, okay guys, the enemy is suppressed, now try to give him some accurate fire and kill him with that instead of wasting ammo. It's okay, because sometimes people get stressed and they forget. Finally we have slow rate of fire, and that is mostly in case of squad level or platoon level tactics. We have suppressed the enemy, we have several elements suppressing towards the enemy, and he's not moving at all. He's staying deep in his trenches, he's not gonna move, and all we need to do is send a team up or squad up to clear out his position. And then we can change to slow rate of fire, and slow rate of fire is really slow. That's kind of boring to do, because that's every 15 to 60 seconds. Again, 15 to 60 seconds, so that's almost a minute between each round you fire. And that's not, it does sound like a lot on team basis, but on platoon basis, if a whole platoon does that, you're actually firing at a decent rate even. I'm not even going to show you that, because that's just going to take up your time, but I hope you understand that. And sometimes when your squad leader just keeps saying, we need suppressive fire, we need suppressive fire, then tell him, squad leader, I recommend taking the teams on slow rate of fire. That will maintain the enemy suppression, and we will still maintain our ammo. And then he can say, okay, yeah, that's right, let's do slow rate of fire. And then you don't waste ammo, because you're only losing a round, you're only losing 4 rounds a minute in the squad instead of fucking 60 rounds a minute. Finally, a type of fire someone would call a separate type of fire is prep AT, and that's an order you want to give whenever you're firing. You're getting told there is a tank coming or light armor is moving in. Then you can say, okay, prep AT, and then boom, your rifleman, whoever has the AT, starts prepping his AT4 or whatever he has, and then there's the contact AT engage BTR 60, for instance. Okay, that's types of fire. It's pretty straightforward. I don't assume there's any questions. Do you have questions?
Yeah, what about your AR?
He has the same. When I say 1 round, then I also mean 1 burst. So if you're going to normal rate of fire and you're firing a round every 5 to 15 seconds, then the AI is just firing a burst for every 5 to 15 seconds, a 5-round burst.
Okay.
And yeah, another important thing is managing your team also comes with AT, because sometimes people figure, oh, we're firing normal rate, that's boring. Oh shit, I have AT4, let me get that out and I can fucking kill everything. Make sure they don't do that, and that's, you simply have to be on your team there and watching them and see, fuck, he's preparing AT. No, stand down with the AT, I don't want you firing that shit, and I'm fucking gonna kill you and then ban you for wasting my asset like that. And you want to make sure your team knows that they're not supposed to be firing AT assets without your permission, because all of a sudden there is a fucking vehicle and you can't destroy it because you just wasted your AT4 on a fucking infantryman. Okay. Side note. Now comes an important part for being a team leader that often is overlooked, and that's designating targets.
Designated.
And that's what we're going to be doing some exercises soon. So, you as a fire team leader have a responsibility, and that's designating designating targets during combat and before combat. So that means if you're getting into a position and you're expecting something to come up, then you want to assign targets to your friends, and you want to assign them during combat. So when the situation changes, then you want to say AR engage, and that's it. I'm going to give you some examples now. First off, there's something I want to teach you. I probably should have talked about this in fireteam operations, but the course is long enough as it is. There is something someone might call common sense, but there is actually a line of succession or a priority line to different types of enemies. For instance, if you're faced with a machine gun at 400 meters and a machine gun and a rifleman at 200 meters, who do you engage?
Machine gunner.
Machine gun.
Yes.
Plus one.
Okay, if you're engaged by a machine gunner at 400 meters and a machine gunner at 200 meters, who do you engage?
200 meters.
Closest.
Yes. If you're engaged by a machine gun at 200 meters and infantry running towards you at 50 meters, who do you engage?
Infantry.
Yes. So it's about identifying the biggest threat, and that's your task as a team leader. Everyone should know this, but it's your task to make sure they do it. Because sometimes you get caught up in a target like an AR. He's engaging the machine gun and he's fucking annoyed with this, and he just want to kill that asshole, and he completely forget, shit, there's infantry flanking, and he might not realize it. And then it's your task to say, AR, infantry, left hand side, engage, traversing fire. Oh shit. And then he starts engaging because he probably didn't realize it was wrong. So that's why as a team leader you don't always fire. You spend a lot of time just looking for targets, not saying not spending a lot of ammo yourself, and that's fine, because that's your job to keep a cold outlook on things. So yeah, I'm going to give you some examples for during contacts and before contacts. What to do. And you always wanna do this, and you want to give them to each man, give instructions to each man, unless there's not enough different targets. Example here could be Fireteam Alpha, contact 180, middle, infantry in open, machine gun, left hand edge, traversing fire, grenadier, engage depth with 203, rifleman, take out machine gunners, Alpha, fire. That's a long line, but that's actually just seeing, okay, what kind of targets do I have? I have a line of infantry. Okay, I want the machine gunner or the AR engage the left hand side with his AR. I want the grenade launcher to engage enemies in depth, and that means you can imagine enemies being in layers because they're bounding towards you or whatever. Then the grenade launcher engages those in the rear that are providing cover fire. That's what in depth means. And then you can tell the rifleman engage machine gunners. So you give him priority. I want those machine guns dead. They're the main threat to us. And then once that's done, you say, okay, Alpha team fire. They start hosing targets. Then as you go, okay, the machine gunners are dead. Rifleman engage team leaders. Okay, he's looking for guys with antennas then. Okay, team leader seems to be dead. Rifleman engage AT. Oh fuck, the AR just took them. Never mind. Enemy is down. You just keep doing that. Oh shit, new contact. Then you can new contact. Then you just go Fireteam Alpha contact 157 middle UAZ with infantry. Rifleman prep AT. Machine gunner left hand edge traversing fire on infantry. Grenadier engage UAZ Alpha at my command. Then, because the enemy probably hasn't seen us yet, we wait for the rifleman to repair his AT. Okay, the AT, we're in range, the AT is ready. AT, fire, Alpha, fire. Then when we tell the AT to fire, that's because we want him to engage first, because when he fires and he destroys an enemy vehicle, then the enemy is in disarray. They've just lost an assets, total confusion, and they might even not even realize that they have to get down, and then you engage with the rest of your team. So you want to designate a man to open up sometimes. You can either just tell him, AT fire, rest fire. Or you can say, okay, everyone, when AT fires, all of you fire. And if you trust your AT gun that much. Okay, so I'm thinking we should do some exercise with this. I'm just gonna mention there's something called, this is a lengthy or execution order where you have time to give one, but you can do what's called a hasty execution order, that you'll do this 90% of the time, and that's just Alpha contact 150 near enemy infantry, engage. Alpha contact 120 middle enemy BM33 prep AT fire when ready. That's just a hasty preparation, and you want to give them very often as well. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to start out by spawning some range targets and maybe even some US infantry units, and then going to give each of you a task to point out targets for the others. So follow me.
Nice. Moving out.
Okay, in this case it's gonna be friendly US Army, and you will just call them out as enemies. So if you don't know what an equivalent to an Abrams is, then just call Abrams, or whatever. Okay, let me just see here.
Can you call just general, like tank?
Yeah, you can. 1 sec. Okay, and the first guy up is 90. Be able to see them now.
Enemy infantry to our southwest.
Range.
But 90, what? How will you engage these guys? They're running away. We need to take them now.
What sword?
Can you see them?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you want to engage them? How do you want to kill these guys?
I think base of fire towards them.
You didn't get what I was talking about before then, did you? What is 90
Okay.
missing?
Actual giving orders.
Yes.
I would get, since they are close together, I would get the AR to shoot them. And then,
Only the AR?
well, the other people too. But that'd be like the first thing. I'm sucking at this.
Does
Just
anyone
to
want to
practice.
throw 90 a rope?
I'd want the Grenadier to grenade them.
If he was competent, at least.
Okay.
Maybe the whole
so,
team should mow them down.
Yeah.
So I probably made this a bit too hard. This is just an enemy fire team. This is 4 guys. There's no need to really do anything special. So what you want to do is just contact contact southwest middle, all contact southwest middle, enemy infantry fire team, fire. And that's just it. Okay, fuck, we see them. And there they are. Bang, 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 bang.
I
You
kind
don't
of made
need
it
to
more
give-
complex than it would be.
Yeah. Exactly, you don't
Yeah.
need to say, okay, AR, shoot the guy on the left, Grenadier, shoot the guy in the middle. Unless you have to be really stealthy, that's not really important.
Okay.
So, but yeah, if it has been more complex enemies, then you might want to do that. If there had been more than just fire team running. I'm gonna try and give you some complex now. Let's see what I want. That and that. Okay.
Oh shit.
Okay, Jan, your turn.
Fireteam, contact west infantry. AT, prepare. Ah shit. Humvee south, prepare AT. Fireteam, fire.
Okay, so you got that the rifleman should prepare AT. What you want to say now is, okay, rifleman, prepare AT, target Humvee, grenadier, and target Humvee, AR, engage enemy fire team, rifleman, engage machine gunners. That could be an example of how you want to do that. It's up to you how you exactly want to do that, but in this case I would want to get as much destructive fire on that Humvee as possible, and then just let the AR take care of the infantry, because they are less of threat than the Humvee, since the Humvee can move fast and usually has a big ass gun on it.
Yeah.
This might be a bit hard. I've never tried doing this on the team before, so but I think it's a good learning exercise, don't you?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna blow these out the way. 1 sec. I need an ability to despawn units instead of this shit.
Holy shit.
Nice.
Okay, now I just gave the enemy a smoke cover too, so now I'm gonna get fucked up. Let's see. Okay, shit's happening now. And it's fucking
Tank.
Leonardo's turn.
Okay. Alpha, southwest, giving Abrams. Get to cover. FAT. Fire.
Okay, we're now in cover. What do you want? 18 firing. What about all the infantry on right? There's a whole platoon coming down on us now.
Shit.
Oh, there they are.
Alpha, west, infantry column coming in. Everyone on line, fire.
Okay, you see how we're starting to panic? That's a thing you want to practice, and that's just take a deep breath, figure out, okay, what do we actually need to do? In this case, enemy infantry coming in on right hand side, AR, traversing fire. Traversing fire just means fire like this. Across the enemy. Not that precise, but just come out like fuck. Okay, and then in the meantime you want and when you told him that, then you want to say, okay, Grenadier, concentrate bunched up enemies. Rifleman, concentrate on squad leaders. And then Alpha, fire. That's as simple as that. You don't might even not have to say Alpha, fire, just let them fire as soon as they can. Then, as we engage these fuckers, then you might say, okay, Rifleman, start focusing on this. AR, start shooting on the right-hand edge instead. Grenadier, engage 80 gunners, whatever. Let's see if I can kill this without killing us. It's gonna be exciting.
Step back a little bit.
It's down.
Oh, crap. Medic! Medic! I even managed to get killed on training. Medic!
That's not the first time I kill a bunch of students on training. I once accidentally sent a fire team in against a platoon of enemy Pakistani regular AI. That didn't work out so well. And that's just because I had preset it to large group instead of small group. Okay, do you want to keep doing these exercises?
Yeah.
I'd like to try one more.
Okay, we'll start out
Yeah.
with Gushko. Let me make a scenario up for you real quick.
Contact. Enemy infantry. Left flank. Contact. Enemy tank. Close. Fire team. AR engaged. Rifleman. 80 gunner. Prep 80. Fire ready.
Okay.
Auto fire.
That wasn't bad. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't bad. He's got someone doing something. AR engage infantry. AT gonna prep your fucking AT. Not firing. But while we didn't address the Grenadier what he was supposed to be doing, we still got someone doing something, and then the Grenadier can say, I'm engaging infantry as well, since I don't have it.
I'm down again. Medic. Medic. Okay. Respawn. I should
Gonna
have
take some cover.
figured that out myself.
There we go. Come on. This gonna be dead close.
Oh shit.
Ah! I'll die again.
So it turned out paved ways have, when they say danger close, or paved ways, not just danger close. Interesting.
Tough love.
And the fucking humans didn't die.
Man, the JDM thing doesn't kill them.
My aim's
Please. At least it's
okay,
dead.
the Abrams is dead, it's just not blown up yet. Ah, fuck it. Fucking pile of bodies right here. Okay, let's do one more thing, and I'm actually starting to think that we're gonna and do this like you're already in an ambush, you're lying down and waiting for targets to pop up in front of you, and now it finally happens, and you'll just have to and you have time to tell your people, do this and this and this. Okay. And whose turn is it? It's Bertrand's turn.
Oh. So, oh yeah, we're waiting. I have to talk now.
Yeah, you pretend that you already have your team lined up and ready in an ambush, and you just need to tell them what to do that.
Yeah. So when the enemy arrives, the AR concentrates on the center.
Contact southwest.
Where do you see that? Contact southwest. AR open fire on the infantry. Grenadier take right flank. AR take left flank. Rifleman take left flank. Open fire. That was not good.
What is wrong with it, Bertrand?
I didn't give any direction. I didn't give. Oh, there they are.
Right.
So again, contact west. Open fire. They're too close.
Right in our
Don't mind
faces.
them, they're just fucking AI.
Oh, that. So yeah, contact west. Team Alpha,
Contact
open
west
fire.
near. Remember to give a range, so just contact west near Alpha, and then even though it's so fucking close, it's tempting to just say open fire. Might as well just say AR traverse from left, Grenadier engage bunch, Rifleman engage team leaders, fire. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it's just give each man something to do, because if you tell them all to just fire, you might end up with them all firing at the same Grenadier because they figured, oh, he's important. but he didn't. But everyone else is still alive and get to stand up and stay in the fight. Not what we want. So we want to make sure we kill as many of them in one stroke, and that's why you give different men different targets.
Yeah, so the first time was actually a little bit better then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you gave them, I want you firing on that side, you firing on that side. The only thing that messed up is you just want to tell the riflemen fucking kill team leaders or whatever.
Yeah. Copy.
Okay, just shoot these motherfuckers. You guys, holy fuck. Firing back, and it took you over 5 minutes to kill them. Okay. Does anyone really want another go at this? Otherwise, we're gonna keep moving. Okay,
I think I
let's
get
check.
the idea.
As we just talk about, this is also part called employment of arms, and within your fight team, we all know the common weapons and have understanding of what they do. As we just talked about, your job is to issue fire commands, and when able, inform your team of the target range for better effect of your weapon system. And you have the following methods of getting an accurate range, because your gunners shouldn't have time to mess around with the actual range. They should just get some fire out, and that's why it's important for you to be able to correct them, telling them what the exact range is. And usually that will be an easy one is just using your weapon sight to estimate the target range. An example is the ACOG. You can use the stadia lines, the horizontal lines in the middle of the sight, and if they cover the width of an infantryman when it's within a certain range, like if an infantryman is wider than those stadia lines, they're not beyond 400 meters, and therefore it's an infantryman who is just covered by a stadia line is approximately 400 meters away. That's an example, but you need to mess around with that yourself, because I'm not actually completely sure about this myself. There is another method called estimation, and that's just going by experience, saying I think it's that far out. That's like if any of you watched the movie Jarhead, they tell you use football fields, for instance, or soccer fields, or rugby fields, whatever your goddamn national sport is, and then figure out, okay, there's about that many fields out there, that equals about 400 meters. Okay, so enemies middle, and or more exactly, enemies 400 meters. So your grenadier has something to go by. That could be one thing, just saying enemy is 400 meters, and then grenadier starts firing at 400 meters. Then he might tell you that's not right because I'm not hitting. Then you can use another method that's more accurate, called the map method. Map method is simply going on your map and using what you know learned in LandNav about estimating ranges. As you all know, if you zoom all the way in, so you get six-figure grids, then each six-figure grid is 100 meters by 100 meters. So you simply just take the range between you and the target, and then count how many grid squares there are between. So, for instance, to the next runway from here is the next paveway. There's about 200 meters just by going off your map. And if you have a map tool, you can do it even more accurately, because you can use the fucking ruler on there. Finally, you have the adjustment method, which is like when you tell the grenadier 400 meters, boom, okay, he missed because the enemy is actually closer than that. Okay, adjust, drop 50 meters, boom, still not on target. Okay, drop 50 meters, boom, on target. Okay, the enemy is 300 meters away. That's our way of figuring that out. And that's something you need to practice to be a good team leader, so you can instruct your people on what to engage. So if you're saying engage fire team 400 meters out, then know that they are approximately 400 meters out, and then you can help them out. You'll see me a lot of time when I play in game that if we're in a prolonged fight from a base of fire, I'll run over to the machine gun and I'll just take out my optics. I'll just sit there looking, saying, okay, fire about one man up, or one target up, one target right, on target, target destroyed, next target, 400 mils right, okay, one target down, on target, target destroyed. I'll just keep doing that, just keep telling the AR what he should be shooting at, maybe even, and maybe do the same thing for the grenadier. And that's a completely common thing to do as a fire team leader. Make sure your weapons are as effective as possible. If your rifleman has some optics, then tell him to spot rounds for the AR or the machine gun and for the grenadier. Okay. So that's it for that. Now comes the ACE reports that we talked about yesterday too. And we pretty much learned all of that before, and the difference is how to make sure you have a system for collecting them. It doesn't work always just to call out ACE report and then because then people just say I have green, I have green, yellow, green. You need to say to them, make sure you tell them what your job is, for instance. So when you say ACE report, you have AR saying AR, green, rifleman, red, green, grenadier, yellow, green, for instance. Make sure you get it that way, because then you can easily, okay, that, and then you can give an accurate report to your team leader instead of you just say green, because then if he asks, or yellow, green, because then if he asks you what kind of ammo you're low on, then you don't know because you just listened to someone saying I have. And that doesn't work. You want to know who has what. Also, so in case your AR says I'm red, green, fuck rifleman, fucking give him some of your box ammo, or give him some magazines to use at least. Since the 240 can use normal magazines. Okay. And yeah, last thing, don't forget yourself. Some people tend to just send on their team's ACE report and they forgot that they have magazines and shit themselves. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna form up. How many do we have? We actually have 6 guys. So we have 2 options. We can either make one 4-man fire team and have 2 guys observing, critiquing on your performance, or we can make 2 3-man fire teams. But that will, the last option, first off, will require that you are good at adapting to a new situation where you don't have a 4-man fire team, and will require you guys to be good, mature people that can critique yourselves and don't need me to tell you what you fucked up. So I'll pretty much just be doing some action runs for you, and then I'll be following one of you, but the other team has to critique itself. What do you guys think of that?
It's okay.
Yeah.
3 or 4?
4?
Let's try a normal team.
Normal team?
Yeah, normal team.
Yeah, normally.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, fair enough. So, who wants to try being team leader first? Step forward.
Okay, I'll do it then.
Leaders.
Bertrand. Okay, so Bertrand, you get Leonidas, Serpent, and Glasgow in your team. Go ahead and get them kitted in the loadout thingy back there. Make sure they get some 343 so I can talk to all of you. And you two, go ahead and load yourselves out as riflemen or team leaders actually. Just
okay, guys, let's go.
And then